Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 224 of the Classic Elite Podcast. My name is Scott. I've got Dustin with me. What's going on, man?
We're on YouTube.
We are streaming on YouTube. First time this week. Things seem to be going well. We got our good friend Jeremy from the Cartoon Retrocast joining us. We got Zarek from Zarek's Gaming Channel joining us. An anonymous lurker. So far, so good. But yeah, if you'd like to watch us record the podcast live, typically we do that on Wednesdays. It's Friday today, the 24th of March. But normally we do Wednesday nights, so subscribe to our YouTube channel if you'd like to join chat and all that stuff. We take questions and feedback and just have a good time. So Dustin, before we jump into video game news and all of that fun stuff, how's the week been?
Awesome. Slow.
Good.
Just because it's spring break.
Yeah, well, that's a good sign. I was going to say, because the weather's turning, you can kind of relax. Mm-hmm. I've got my windows open behind me, which is nice. It hit 70-something today. So I think Ohio is in the clear. I think it's springtime for us.
Yeah, officially.
Yeah, I know officially, but I mean, I've seen snow on the ground in May, so who knows what we're going to get.
True.
But yeah, I mean, outside of it being nice and relaxing at work, did you catch up on any fun stuff? Movies, gardening? Did you get any prep stuff done?
No, not really.
All right. Hey, good. We don't always need an update. I've had pretty low-key week too, just normal work stuff, and I've been able to actually play a good bit of video games over the last week. My tournament bracket was destroyed, and Notre Dame got they lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament, so I have no reason to watch the basketball right now. So video games it is. What was that?
You watched North Carolina. If they haven't been beaten by Butler, I don't know when they're playing.
They were crushing Butler before we started.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, they're out of the teams left. Yeah, they're the ones I'll be rooting for sure. So, yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't really have anything exciting either. So, I do want to preface this, even though we are a video game podcast, tonight's news is going to feel like we are a Nintendo Switch podcast. I promise that's not the case. There's, we're in that eye of the storm right before E3 for Microsoft, but after the Xbox or the PS4 Pro release. So Nintendo's this little eye in the storm right now. So it's kind of all we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But some cool stuff. And yeah, I guess let's go ahead and jump in, man. First, I just wanted to touch on one thing from last week. We ended up talking a lot longer than I thought about Colin Moriarty. And just want to say congratulations to him. He is at almost $40,000 a month on Patreon, which is crazy. He was over 30,000 the first day. And a couple of days after we recorded last week, he was on the Rubin Report and talked about how he felt that a lot of people didn't publicly support him, but sent him direct messages and stuff. So I was glad that we stood up for what we thought about that situation. So
yeah,
congratulations to him. I'm very excited. It's going to be a politics show, and should be great. Go check that out at Colin's Last Stand. And Dustin, I don't have any proof of this, but he announced a YouTube channel, Colin's Last Stand. There were 443 subscribers when I clicked subscribe. And 435 is a big number in the U.S. government with the House of Representatives and all that. So it was cool to be his 435th subscriber.
That's cool.
Yeah, congrats to him. And then some really cool gaming news. The Nintendo Switch seems to be selling well. Dustin, are you tempted right now?
Absolutely, yes.
Sweet. I'm really enjoying the Switch itself. I think I saw RetroWare TV. Yeah, that's who. They made a tweet about applauding Nintendo's UI. Remember how I said it was kind of empty feeling? When it's populated with games, it's going to be awesome. It's just games. You open it up and it's just blocks of games, settings, and how to buy games and news if you want. It's it's really elegant. Since I have one game, it's empty. But it's selling well, and that leads to the first story, which is Nintendo's going to double their production from what they had planned on doing over the next fiscal year, which makes it sound like they are. I've seen estimates of ramping up from producing 8 million units over the next year to now 16 million over the next year. And it looks like they're going to hit their initial goal of 2 million units sold with a couple of weeks to spare. So
Sweet.
Good. I saw something else where GameStop, I don't know if it was an employee or a store manager or an executive, I have no idea. But somebody associated with GameStop said that they believe the Switch and Zelda are almost exactly 1-to-1. Like, if you have a Switch, you've also bought Zelda. That's a lot of copies of Zelda.
I imagine if you didn't buy Zelda, then it just wasn't in the store for you to get.
Yes. Yeah. And
You went home and bought it digitally.
Yep, exactly. But awesome. I hope that entices developers, and I know we talked last week about the pricing issues, and hopefully it'll just kind of work itself out, or the games will be good enough and the platform will be good enough that it'll feel worth it.
That would be awesome if third-party developers saw that, and instead of, since the Switch is it's a less powerful machine, it would be awesome if they made like console-specific stuff, like exclusive stuff.
That would be awesome. Yeah, like Platinum carves out a little part of the studio to make Switch games.
Yeah.
20-person team or something like that. And that would be pretty rad.
I want Zelda 3. I want like a side-scrolling Zelda 2 sequel.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you can get the Game Boy game. Yeah, I would like to see them revisit the side-scrolling. That'd be a fun little... Link 2. Yeah, that'd be cool. I like Zelda, so if you're going to give me more of it directly from Nintendo, sign me up. Jeremy said that they actually reported that in their earnings statement, 1-to-1 Zelda Switch.
Sweet.
So, good stuff there. Also related to the Nintendo Switch, it looks like Nintendo actually approached a guy named Kurt McMaster, who was the CEO of Cyanogen. Do you know what Cyanogen is at all, Dustin?
I don't.
So it's a custom ROM of Android.
Okay.
So you install it yourself. It's based on Android, but had a lot of customizability to it, and it was for power users. You could overclock potentially with it. Maybe not with that. But tons of UI freedom. A lot of features in CyanogenMod have made their way into Android as staples. Certain menu things. It also is what shipped on the OnePlus when that first started, if you're familiar with the OnePlus One phone. But it's just a cool fork of Android, basically, that you install on your phones in a custom manner.
Cool.
And looks like Nintendo approached the CEO of CyanogenMod to help make the Nintendo Switch OS. He turned him down, but interesting for Nintendo to, I don't know, kind of pull like what Amazon did. You know how they just reskinned Android to fit their market and their needs? I thought that was kind of cool. It seems very un-Nintendo to reach out like that, at least as of late. I mean, they did that back in the 80s and stuff, or in 90s, I mean. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and I wonder why he said no. I wonder if he thought maybe they'd be tough to work with, or he wouldn't have like creative freedom or whatnot. I have no idea. The article just mentioned that Nintendo wanted to partner with him. What's that tell you about the Switch, though, despite how they are marketing it? Like, does it feel less like a console now?
I mean, it's a tablet.
It is a tablet.
I wonder if they were like, it's not powerful enough. I don't want to make her. OS.
Possibly. And the Tegra chip that I have in my tablet runs like garbage. So maybe he's like, that's a bad framework you're starting with. I don't want any part of that. So I don't know. I thought that was cool. I thought it was interesting. I got that from NintendoEverything.com. Rolling right along with Nintendo Switch news. We talked a couple weeks ago, and it's been in the news, that the left Joy-Con was not syncing or losing sync and then coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like Nintendo's doing an awesome job with customer service. If you have the issue, you send your Joy-Con to them. I've heard they've had a fast turnaround time. And hackers were adding like a strip of wire, and it would give better reception. And this journalist, maybe from Ars Technica or something, cracked his open before he sent it to Nintendo. Then when he got it back, looked at what they did to it, and they added a little piece of conductive foam that allowed the signal to get through more clearly. And then I guess they said it was a manufacturing error, and it's been corrected for newer units. So
cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, with them basically doubling their manufacturing, hopefully it doesn't lead to more stuff like that.
Yeah. Maybe all of us beta testers will get the wrinkles ironed out for them.
What was their 3DS program? The early adopters that got like free games?
Oh, Ambassador.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be like an ambassador program for the Switch.
Hey, I'll take it. I don't know if I have the issue or not, though. I'm wondering if I should claim I do. Just take a week off. Yeah, because I was telling you I've only played in handheld mode. And that's typically what I will always do unless I have friends over.
Yeah.
And I don't want that desyncing while we're playing snipper clips or whatever.
When you're trying to guess how many ice cubes are in the class.
Yeah, right? That HD Rumble. What a silly... Do you think that the marketing person that came up with HD Rumble was proud or embarrassed that that's what they were having to...
I bet they did a total facepalm when they realized the blurb that they had to write.
No, I'm talking about the person that had to put forth that idea initially. That started somewhere. Who called the fight?
Right.
Was he like, this is a dad joke, I don't really want to do this, but HD Rumble? Or was he like proud, like, man, I'm clever. I'm on point.
He's probably
with
proud of it. I think he was.
Might have been.
I bet he stood up in the middle of the meeting and went, guys, stop. I've got it. HD Rumble.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. So yeah, good on them for having a good RMA process and getting out ahead of that. Saying, okay, yep, help us out. It's a lot like the, didn't they have to send wristbands out for Wiimotes, or they sent like free like covers out, those silicone covers?
Mm-hmm.
They had to do something like that.
Yeah.
The next thing in the news, did you happen to see anything about this? The Square Enix?
I saw it earlier in the notes. So, yeah, it's Square is releasing the Mana Collection on Nintendo Switch, and the pictures are in. Unfortunately, I didn't read the article, but the pictures are in Japanese. But it is, let's see, the Game Boy version released for, Final Fantasy Adventure that was on the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one, which is known as Seiken Densetsu. And then Secret of Mana was the second one. That's the one we got. And then Secret of Mana 3, which never came over here. So if all of those come over, especially the third one, that would be awesome.
Yeah. I trust Square to do good ports of these games. They've done good ports of other properties in the Final Fantasy realm, so I would imagine these will be good. I I think it's great seeing these collections of old things come out. I know it's some people hate it, that people are reselling games and whatnot, but I don't know. Like, if you have a cool UI and you get all the games and you get to play 3 with save states and all that, I think it's cool. I really like it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't buy the game, I guess. I don't mind companies reselling me games. I like convenience.
Especially if they go through the trouble of localizing that third one and bringing it over.
Yeah.
Because right now, the only way that you can play it localized is if you get a ROM of it.
Okay. I've never done that, other than patching in Tecmo Bowl names.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played any fan translations?
Actually, yeah. This game, Mike from Cartoon Retrocast sent me a copy of a repro cart.
Oh, okay. I remember him doing that.
Yeah.
It was this game. Sweet. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. It's being called the Mana series, Seiken Densetsu. So keep an eye out for that. Cool. And then Zarek pointed this out on Twitter. Bloodstain was canceled on the Wii U, and it's coming to the Switch instead.
That's a very good move.
It is a good move, and I feel bad for the people that was their only way of playing the game. But I would imagine if they made that decision that was a relatively small number.
Mm-hmm.
What platform did you go with?
PS4.
Okay, so you're all good.
Yep.
That'll always play excellent there. I'm starting to get pretty excited about this game. You've turned me into a big Castlevania fan over the years, and
Yes.
I'm excited to play more. I love Castlevania now, and it's funny. I started with the first one I ever really played a lot was not Shadows of Mordor. God damn it,
Lords of Shadow.
Lords of Shadow. Gosh, I'm confusing myself. But yeah,
There's too
Lords
many
of
shadows in games nowadays.
yeah, it's the new Super. But I'm very excited to play it, and I remember you and Zarek both enjoying the beta or the preview thing that was released.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel if you would have selected Wii U?
I'm assuming that they would upgrade to the Switch. Or you know what? I bet that they would just give you an option, like, hey, we're not gonna make it for the Wii U. Do you want to switch over to PC, PS4, Switch, that kind of thing?
Give options, or you can't really offer money back necessarily though, because it was Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You gotta try to make it right somehow, I guess. Zarek's taking me to task. He says, and yet it was Dustin who was streaming Symphony of the Night a few days ago, which that was cool to see. I thought the video quality was really good coming from PSP. And I really enjoy you talking about some of the differences of that port. I wouldn't have thought that there would be any gameplay differences.
Yeah.
Which, that's the kind of love that you're talking about going into re-releasing of a game, like
Mm-hmm.
you were hoping Square did with the localization. So, yeah, I mean, what got you to start playing that again?
I don't know. I woke up thinking about it.
As one does.
Yeah. I wanted to play a game. I had some free time. And I was like, dude, I'm just gonna play some Castlevania.
Awesome.
And I started hitting that up, and after playing it, it would have been a really good idea if they just released that afterwards. Just release that Symphony of the Night on disc, because as it stands, it's on the Dracula X Chronicles.
Okay.
And you have to unlock it, and then it's in a sub menu, and yeah.
I got used to that, and luckily Zarek hooked me up with that save state, that save I could upload and unlock that game for me. which I still haven't gotten around to beating.
I don't know. It's about Xeric says that they butchered the voice acting in the PSP version, but it's about the same quality. I think the translation makes more sense.
Okay. I mean, it was a really low bar.
Yeah.
So-
Die, monster. You don't belong in this world.
What is a man? So, yeah, Bloodstain. Keep an eye out for it. If you have if you're one of the few really affected by the Wii U, condolences.
See if you can get a lock of Koji Igarashi's hair sent to you. That's what I would do.
Then you could buy a little leather whip handle, like for a action figure thing or whatever.
Mhm.
Make it a whip of his hair.
Oh,
Be dope.
yes.
I thought you were along there. It wasn't until I actually spelled it all out that you're like, "What's he talking about? Leather in his hair?" Next thing in the news, did you get a chance to watch this video? I found it over at usgamer.net.
No. So Zelda Home Automation?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to see that one.
This guy basically rigged up a bunch of servos and Raspberry Pis and all this stuff to make an ocarina do things in his house. So he would play like any of the Ocarina of Time songs had a particular function. It would turn on the heater or cool the house down or unlock his car. All these funny things, and he would play a song for it. My friend Matt was really funny. He was like, I don't know if I should be terrified or really impressed with the amount of free time that guy has.
Right? But then you're like, okay, damn, I wanted to turn the AC on. Was that the Song of Storms? Was that the Song of Time?
No, it followed pretty logically. When you watch the video, I'm struggling to come up with a specific example, but the songs he chose to do the functions made sense. Like whatever the sun song was, would like turn on the heater or whatever.
Okay.
And he does have a way to set everything back to default. So as he exits, he can reset everything. So I thought you would be particularly terrified to see this.
Oh, yeah, it's a horrible idea.
But I feel like you're like, if you're going to go into Internet of Things, at least you can go with video games, I guess.
No.
You could make Sully sneak in the front door with a cardboard box or something. Yeah. Zerk's got some more information about Bloodstain. He says, if you selected the Wii U version and you want to move it to one of the other platforms, you can. Just go to your backer survey, and it's in the answers link. He said if you selected Wii U version and you don't want any of those things, you are eligible for a cancellation and a refund. He says if you filled out your backer survey and selected the Wii U version prior to this update, and you backed an alternate version and a tier, you are able to receive a refund via PayPal. Submit your refund request before April 20th, 2017. Actually, do it before the 19th in case you're a stoner. Then you might be a little forgetful on the 20th.
Right, yeah.
Bad pot joke. So, yeah. Zelda Home Automation, and that's some good information about Bloodstain. And then, Dustin, did you at least get to see this video?
Yes, I watched this multiple times. Nerf John Wick.
Nerf John Wick.
It doesn't disappoint. Like if you're like, man, I wonder what John Wick would look like with Nerf guns. This is the video. Like cut and paste. It's amazing. It's excellent.
Dumez emailed us that, and I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's Nerf John Wick. It is unbelievable. I'm at a loss for words, I guess, to describe it. I'll have it linked. Please go watch it or look it up. It was one of those videos that had like over 1 million hits in a day or 2 million views in a day or whatever, and had one of those like 10,000 to 1 like to dislike ratios. It just everybody just seemed to really like this video, which was cool to see. All right, man. Well, that's it for news. So, do you want to move into YouTube channel of the week?
Yes. Let's do one of our backups.
Okay.
I have been watching like Game Trailers has Pop Fiction up, and we talked a bunch about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching a crap load of The Completionist.
Oh, good.
I've been watching so much Completionist. I think I've come around on Greg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always
I'm
found his randomness and goofiness funny.
It used to like I would immediately just start hammering the right button trying to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, yeah, all right, that's okay. I'm on board with that.
Awesome. Uh, yeah. So I guess we'll go with a backup. A really good channel that I would recommend if you're particularly interested in virtual reality is a channel named Woodsy. WOOD SIE. And the reason this is a backup, just for it's not any reflection on the channel. It's just I have a couple of my personal channels that I would recommend if Dustin doesn't have the time to come up with one. So if we say backup, it just means it's my pick that week. So
It's not meant to be derogatory.
Yeah,
anyway.
not at all. Thank you for saying that succinctly when I couldn't. Woodsy's awesome because he has a really pessimistic but realistic view, I guess, maybe on VR.
Mhm.
I just really like the information that he provides about it, his predictions on where it will go, and he does other videos as well, but his VR stuff is really what got me in. It's good production, like he has good voice, good microphone, that kind of stuff that you'd expect, but his information's excellent. And I love virtual reality and I hope that it's going to be like the next best thing. And then it catches on real big. And he brought my fanboyism down, but he's not calling it dead like some people are. So I think it's awesome. He says, Zarek says the whole video game industry this week is spending their entire show talking about Mass Effect. It's we don't have Josh with us, so
No.
the chances of us talking about Mass Effect are quite slim.
I played the first one like 8 years ago.
I still have the second one. Oh, here it is. In the wrapper.
Oh yeah.
Tony gave this to me as a gift, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play that someday.
That's the OG version too.
OG,
Not the greatest hits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so...
Keep it for 10 more years and eBay it.
Mass Effect is... people bitching. I don't know. Some people aren't happy with it. That's all I can say about it. I don't... Yeah.
Oh, hey, before we get away from YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Console Wars put up a Beauty and the Beast episode.
Oh, yes. And it was
It
awesome.
was really good. Yeah.
I really liked... I like how in-depth they go with fine details. And I'm sure it's a necessity because they have to they got to talk about something, so they have to get really deep into what the graphics look like, things that are missing from some levels, all that kind of stuff. This was a really good one, and the jokes were excellent. And the Angry Video Game Nerd came out with a new episode yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Check that out. What was it?
Power Rangers.
All right.
And it was awesome. I haven't watched it today. Gaming Historian uploaded a new video, so we're flush with excellent brand new YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Man, why do people even own cable?
Live TV. That's all I can... I mean, live sports. Live sports.
Oh, okay.
Live TV. Sorry. But yes, go to Woodsy. He does awesome videos. Go check him out. And yeah. Let's go ahead and Dustin. So why do people have cable? Well, especially when YouTube TV comes out, I'm very excited about that because it's no subscription, and hopefully it will it'll work well because there's all the 4 major networks and the channels that they own for the most part. So that covers my football and basketball. And then I'll just get HBO a la carte for Game of Thrones. All right. Zarek says there was news about Cyberpunk 2077, but I already forgot it. Likely dead before the game releases. Well, after 2077. Good one.
They were getting grants for stuff from the Polish government and hiring people. And it looks like they're going for a 2019 release, from what I understand.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm stoked to play that game, hopefully.
I know. I believe it. Every Saturday. Well, cool, man. Well, outside of... is there anything else you wanted to talk about with Castlevania before talk about other stuff, too? I know I kind of jumped ahead on you.
Let's see. That game is great. The PSP version is more different than I remember it being. Like, it's I think it's a port of the Japanese version because I use a holy sword to do some grinding after you get to the second castle, and the place where the holy sword is another familiar called the Nose Devil. And that holy sword is now a drop from an enemy in the keep, the castle keep.
I'm impressed that you've played it so much that something like that stands out to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, that game is so good. That's definitely a bucket list game.
So we got Max Payne and Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night specifically. There's going to be more Castlevanias on there if you're making the bucket list.
If I had to, if I could only have one Castlevania game, I would just cheat. I would cheat and make it both Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood.
Okay. Yeah, my guess would have been Rondo of Blood.
Yeah.
God,
that game's good.
It's
so good.
It really is. I came to it late. I never tried it until the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. It's one of the best games from that era of games. And it holds up amazingly well today.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you talked me into that one. Well worth that Chronicles X for $10 off the PS or Vita shop or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great deal.
Yeah.
And it has Symphony of the Night on it too, so it has both of those games that you're talking about, plus a remake of Rondo of Blood.
Well, that's the cheat. I can just put this game as the best Castlevania game.
Yes, that's it.
Boom. So you get the original Castlevania, Rondo of Blood, a remake of Rondo of Blood, and Symphony of the Night. Slam
Perfect.
dunk.
Perfect. So, great. And then you played some Flashback. I watched as much of that as I could. You got a couple hours in.
I did, yeah. I got like a third of the way through the game. I think there's only 6 levels, and I got through the first 2. I played that game all the time back in the day to the point that I had it memorized.
Mm-hmm.
And I've forgotten a lot of the details, so it's really interesting to go back through that game almost like it's new. Like there are details as far as the missions go in the second level where you're trying to make enough money to buy some counterfeit papers. And I had to remember how to find my way through those missions. You accept a mission from this kiosk, and it gives you a picture of a replicant that you're trying to find. And that was also a really good opportunity for me to troll Xeric a little. And it worked because I saw his comment in the comment section. But I had to remember who to show the picture to, and they said, "Oh yeah, that guy, I've seen him by this place," and I had to go over there. So it was really cool, almost like playing the game for the first time.
That's sweet, and it's got to be almost like a dream. Like there's a familiarity to it.
Right. Yeah.
Did you know that this game got a remake in 2013?
Yeah, it wasn't good at all.
That's what I saw. I noticed the reviews were terrible.
Yeah.
But that piece of artwork that I was happy to find was press stuff. It wasn't like DeviantArt or whatever. I thought it was like a fan picture, but it was part of that game. Beautiful image.
Yeah.
It's too bad that game wasn't any good. Did you get it?
Yeah, I own that on my 360. Unfortunately, I got a few levels in and I was like, this isn't too bad. And then I was like, yeah, this sucks. This is garbage. I stopped playing.
That's a bummer.
I think I talked about it on the podcast like 4 years ago or something.
I believe it.
I don't even remember what we talked about last week. So
Right.
much less 4 years
It
ago.
is easier to remember older stuff than it is like more recent for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. One thing I noticed is the art and the cutscenes is incredible in this game.
Yeah, for Super Nintendo game.
They do, if you pay attention to it, a lot of games, and Mega Man was one of the first to really do this, was to outline a lot of games in like a black outline to help them stand out. And shadowing and black outlines became really prevalent in the 16-bit era. And these cutscenes don't have any of that. They have these like really awesome like shapes that create the image of the person laying down, or I don't know, they're like really awesome images. They look like real images, but the way they did the colors and the lines really stood out to me as really awesome. I don't know, did that catch your eye at all, or is it just something that you were like, yeah, that's cool?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I own this on the Sega CD also,
Okay.
and they went with like rendered 3D voiced cutscenes, and I think, if memory serves, which is a big if, the Super Nintendo version holds up better than the Sega CD version, just because of that weird art style that they went with.
I believe it. It's pretty incredible how visually well 8 and 16-bit games have held up versus when you look at like the PS1 and all that stuff for PS. It's weird how junky the PS2 looks. Like, I remember Grand Theft Auto 3 just being so jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
And I look at it now and it looks like the Dire Straits Money for Nothing video.
That should be our game, the Classic League game. We make something that looks like Dire Straits.
That'd be great. I would love it. That would be awesome.
Oh, okay, I got it. It's a VR game.
Okay.
YouTube simulator.
Perfect.
You just sit at a desktop and try to edit video and get it uploaded.
I'm in. And then you got to fight copyright stuff.
Yes.
So part of it's just like the clicker. You know, clicker games are real popular.
Uh-huh.
There's like a clicker mini game just disputing copyright claims.
Yes. Get Oculus on the line. We got it. We gotta make this happen.
Which we finally did take the plunge, and we've well, I shouldn't say we. I mean, as a channel now, we can't undo it. I rang the bell of opting into the Nintendo's Creator Program. So our videos that get dinged, I manually claim them, or we all manually claim them, and we'll at least, I guess, get some revenue from it if we have any blow up. But we have a lot of Nintendo stuff, and we may as well get something if something's coming from it. It was like, damn. I tried to hold out out of principle.
Well, I think once you become a member, you get to hang out with Miyamoto, though, right?
Pretty much. And, you know, Reggie will valet for you, I guess. No, I mean, it's fine. It's just silly that you go to a Nintendo site and then you click a button and it triggers a manual copyright claim on YouTube. So you get an email that you had a copyright claim that you started, and Nintendo pays you separately. It's a very... whatever. Luckily, there's a ton of games on their approved list.
It kind of reminds me of like when somebody stole something in like elementary school, and she's like, "I'm not going to call anybody's names. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk out of the classroom for 10 minutes. When I get back, I just want said item on my desk when I get back."
Yes.
It's like Nintendo doing that to us.
Yeah. that's how it feels. But oh well. Yeah, we won't be streaming Nintendo anymore or any less. We're just part of the. But keep an eye out, though. We will have a couple of ways to support the show coming up here soon. Which I mentioned a couple of months ago that we had some things that were going to change for us this year. We still don't have the stones for a Patreon, so don't get excited. But there'll be some ways that if you use some Amazon affiliate link stuff, or if you're interested in buying some of our equipment that we have, we can get kickbacks from it starting soon. So, yeah, no Patreon yet, but you can stealthily, if you want to buy this Samsung microphone from Amazon, that would be great.
Somewhere, somebody's putting their wallet back in their pocket. Like, oh, no Patreon. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think we have that luxury, but but it will be nice. And there's another site we're going to use that My Life in Gaming uses, and it kind of aggregates everything, called kit.com. So we'll have direct Amazon links and kit.com, and the kit site will let us put like our gear in there and games that we talk about or play. And that way you can, if you are interested in buying any games we're playing or any of the equipment we use, you'll be able to see what we use. And if you buy through that link, we'll get hooked up. So, just basic stuff. But let's see. Oh, Dustin, we've been foiled. PewDiePie already made a YouTube simulator game. Not our style, though.
That's right.
Now, maybe he does. He probably has a lot of copyright crap to deal with.
Yeah.
He might have that mini game in there.
I bet he did. And now he does again. Like, he did, and then he got big. But then everybody was like, hit piece. And now he's like, he's lost favor. It's just nothing but copyrights probably now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess Flashback. Let's get to Flashback. Back to Flashback. I know you said you've been relearning stuff. Do you think you're going to have a lot of trouble finishing it? Do you remember it being a challenging game towards the end? Or
towards the later levels, there are, like, if you miss a jump or don't let your stuff down easy to, like, a next ledge, then you'll just fall to your deaths. I'll probably fall a few times.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. That last alien planet can be a bit tricky.
But that's kind of a feel thing too. Like, you get used to that animation and stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll probably be all right.
But my force field timing is on point right now, so that's pretty good.
All right. That feels good when you just nail a mechanic and it turns into like, I'm gonna use this fully to my advantage, probably in a way that the developers didn't intend.
Yeah.
Did you ever see this one? Jeremy says that Areno from Game Center CX played Out of This World.
Have I seen that one? Is that one recent? I don't think I've seen that one. I bet that's an excellent episode.
I definitely haven't. I've watched very little Game Center CX. Shame on me.
It's so good.
I eventually will. And I hear so many people talk about it. I really feel like someone that hasn't watched Game of Thrones or hasn't watched Mad Men or something like. What, you haven't seen? So
I guess that's why I have seen it, because I haven't seen either of those shows.
Balance in the cosmos. Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
You brought harmony to the nerd space.
The things I do for you guys.
Cool, man. Well, anything else you wanted to chat about?
Flashback is excellent. Castlevania is excellent. Go watch those. I streamed them.
Yes, do that. So I'm further down the rabbit hole, Dustin.
I'm excited to hear that. I'm sorry.
I bought an item called an open source scan converter.
Okay.
I've talked about it briefly on the show before, and it's a FrameMeister competitor, basically, and it's open source, and I think for my particular situation, it's exactly what I want. But it's a gamble. First of all, it's getting the retailers out of the UK, So I have shipments from China or wherever they're getting their parts, and then sent to me overseas. So I've got overseas transactions. I'm sure they wouldn't send me a broken one that they received or whatever, but who knows? These are scarce too.
Ooh, okay.
So that's why I ended up buying this, and I haven't bought like a FrameMeister yet. I've saw My Life in Gaming talk about it, and what it basically does is it's just an upscaler. When it handles, it's specifically made for a 240p signal, and it'll upscale to 480p or 720p with almost zero lag.
Okay.
And the reason that it is, it's got less lag than the FrameMeister, which I could probably get away with just fine, is it actually doubles or triples the specific scan line instead of converting an entire image progressively at a time. So it's allowed to move as fast as the scan line would be able to move. So, unfortunately, though, that takes the 720p signal slightly out of spec. So there's plenty of TVs that this won't work with.
Okay.
I have no way to test it. I'm hoping it works.
What kind of out does it have?
Here's another thing that's a huge issue potentially for some people. DVI, and that's it.
Okay.
So I'm guessing, no, what I've heard, I shouldn't say I'm guessing. I heard people say that they didn't use HDMI because of licensing stuff, and also maybe DVI is just truly open and a lot cheaper as a port. DVI typically only has video, no audio. So it also had a 3.5-inch audio out jack. So, again, that's a compatibility issue potentially. Your stereo system or your TV might not take that. The thing is, for me, I want DVI out. I have a DVI cable that splices everything down. I opted for an upgrade audio board, which should mix everything down and spit it out through a compatible DVI cord.
Okay.
Which would then run into my Elgato, which would allow me to stream the retro HD cables through the upscaler into my Elgato and get true crisp RGB on my Genesis and Super Nintendo streams. So,
oh man, if this works,
I put on Instagram a picture of my SCART cable. It does SCART input.
Okay.
So I got my component to SCART, and I have a little switcher, like a component switcher. And so I just will have one of the outputs be to the upscaler, and I can also split it to just play naturally on my TV. So fingers crossed. Now I don't know how it's going to behave with the Elgato. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Now, the person that runs the company couldn't confirm in a forum in 2016 about this, but he said that Elgato is pretty robust and he'd be surprised if it didn't work. Couldn't guarantee anything, hadn't been tested, so. Hey, Annie, what's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. So, fingers crossed, man. I could have a nearly zero lag solution that will let me utilize those HD Retrovision cables for the YouTube channel and not just for the television.
That's going to be so awesome.
I hope so. Luckily, since they're super scarce, like you can't even go to the site and order them at all. You have to sign up for a mailing list, and then he emails you directly and says, okay, you can place an order now. And then he does these small batches of orders until a small batch is out, and then he sends out confirmation emails. So it's kind of a long, laborious process, but I really appreciate how communicative he's been. He sends up notes on Twitter, like, hey, if you're between this number and this number, you should have your confirmation email. Let me know if you don't. Hey, if you are this person's name, I'm getting an email kickback. Please contact me. So he's doing like some great customer service stuff up front. So I'm excited. Hopefully it works. I hope you're right. I hope I'm right that the Elgato will behave with it.
Yeah.
And then and the site that I got this from is videogameperfection.com. And it's very clear from there how to subscribe to the newsletter. And if you're in the newsletter, you'll get an email when a new batch is available for you to order, and he'll send you a link that you can order from.
Cool.
And I guess just from a price perspective, total with the mod board and everything, it was $260 after it was converted.
Okay.
I think the Framemeisters, when they're new, are around $300 or $350, so it's not much less. But right now, since the Framemeister's not in production, they're like $400 to $500. So
yeah,
at this moment, it's a better solution for me. And again, that zero lag, since I'm already piping through the Elgato, could potentially be lag. Now, I do have another upscaler that I tried to use for the HDMI Retrovision cables, component in, and then HDMI out, but the converter box I tried, it didn't work.
Okay.
It didn't accept the signal. But the theory is that if you run it through an up converter, like I may be able to get up conversion out of the DVI thing, is what it comes out
Right.
to. I might be able to recycle something that I bought. And again, since it's rare, I can throw it on eBay if it's not compatible.
Yeah.
So, also, I streamed Batman, and I don't know, my microphone wasn't on, so people just got to watch me just play the game. And
I loved your thumbnail.
Oh,
You put gameplay with commentary and just scratched out commentary.
Yeah.
That was great. That was great.
that game's incredibly hard. I think I'm going to stream it again, though.
Sweet.
It's awesome. It's a great game.
I hope whoever requested it and watched it.
They did.
Yeah. Sweet.
I saw them at the end of the stream. That's another reason I'd like to stream it again with some commentary, because I didn't get a chance to thank them. I put them in the description and stuff, but I'd like to audibly thank them.
Yeah.
Also, Tricky Towers had some updates, and now they're matchmaking. People are playing Tricky Towers on PC, and that's been awesome. I've been playing tournament mode. They just pair you up with other people, and then you play one of each of the styles of courses, and depending on who finishes first, second, third in each of those events, wins the overall tournament.
Sweet.
It's great. So, oh, excuse me. My allergies have been awful. But yeah, so Tricky Towers on PC, if you bought it and it was barren before, go ahead and give it a try again. I love that game. Zelda, Breath of the Wild, I've been playing it a lot. I die a lot, like a lot. It's getting overwhelming at times with the systems, with the mechanics, with the potential crafting, and I'm starting to feel that anxiety of not being able to progress because I feel like I'm missing too much, or I'm going to get too far and not be able to proceed because I was missing this whole element that I ignored, and now that's biting me in the ass. I'm getting over it a bit. There's more things on my map that feel like story stuff and not do whatever you want kind of stuff. Not Skyrim.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. Like I really like it. It's a challenge for me though. It's outside of my comfort zone for sure. And it's a hard game so far for me. All right. So that's it for me for what I have been playing this last week. So let's get to. We got a quick thank you to Kevin, our buddy from Canada, Kevin Souza. He gave us some game codes for one of his favorite iOS developers, Orange Pixel. But I think these are Steam codes for us for their new game, Meganoid. And they do games that are on Steam. Also, I think Meganoid's on Vita, and it's already on iOS. And I remember Kevin, when he did the Paranerds podcast, had an awesome interview with one of the developers from Orange Pixel. So
Sweet.
It was. I love talking to independent video game developers. They're so into their game and into like why they like video games, and we like to play games, so it works out really well. It's a fun conversation to have.
They're really enthusiastic, whereas people who, like, independent game makers kill themselves making a game they love, and people who work in the industry kill themselves to make a game they were told to make.
Yeah.
So they're like polar opposites in regards to their personalities.
Absolutely. Yeah,
or dispositions maybe.
And it makes sense that even if someone's shy, they're going to be able to talk really eloquently about their own game because they've lived it and know it so much.
Yeah.
We haven't really had any bad interviews, and you never know. Like, we set these things up, we have email conversations, and you don't know how it's going to go. And everyone's been like awesome. So yeah. Shout out to Orange Pixel. That interview really stuck with me. And thanks for sending that over, Kevin. YouTube comments. We have a couple from Tony, and then that's it. Do you want to get comment 1 and I'll get comment 2?
Yeah, let's see here. Tony said, "Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Dustin, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That is badass. My son is taking martial arts, and I'm thinking of joining. There are not enough plus-size martial artists out there, and I'm trying to start a new trend." Tony could be the Ohio version of Sammo Hung.
Of who?
Sammo Hung. He was in he trained and did a lot of movies with Jackie Chan.
Okay.
He was in an American show called Martial Law.
I remember the name Martial Law. Oh, what's his name? I gotta see.
Sammo Hung. SAMOHUNG.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, wait, I found a restaurant. Sam, what was it?
Sammo Hung. It's SAMO space HUNG.
Is it Pacers player? A Notre Dame player? I'm not finding it. I'll have to go to IMDb. It asked me if I was trying to say Sam Young, who's a former right tackle for Notre Dame, and this guy from the Pacers, who I've never heard of or never seen before.
They don't have names on their jerseys. How do they know that?
Oh, in bowl games, they do. That's inside
Sacrilege.
baseball right there. I'm very impressed that you knew that.
Thank you.
For someone that doesn't like sports, that's a freaking detail. Like it's pretty impressive for you to know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So on with. Sorry, I don't know who that is. Sammo Hung. That's who Tony's reminding you of.
Actually, Sammo Hung's way heavier than Tony is. I saw him in his Switch unboxing, and Tony's actually lost a great deal of weight.
Yes, he has.
Like especially in his face, he's way slimmer.
Wait, you said SAM space?
SAMO space
SAMMO space. I misheard your space for sure. I absolutely did that wrong. Okay, I've seen this guy before.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Nice little diversion there. And then Tony's got another. Oh no, go on. I'm sorry, we didn't finish that.
Starting a new trend. Bummer what happened to Colin. Proves my theory that we love to watch people burn. Yes, we do in this country. Meaning that the media, YouTubers, and others often take any chance they get to step on others in order to get more views. It stinks, and it is frustrating. The debate invitation you mentioned is telling. Why can't we sit down in a room and talk anymore? I know I sound like an old man, but seriously.
Why is that old and crusty? To be reasonable and civil.
Because you're supposed to just go to social media and then overreact.
That's true. And you got to be lockstep. No diversion, no thought.
Also, sitting down in a room with someone would humanize and confirm that they're an individual instead of just a cog in a social construct.
Absolutely. So the next, and that is, I'm having that weird issue that you had where it was cutting off.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see any of that comment, the last part of the comment.
Yeah, I had to refresh.
Okay. So Tony also says, comment number 2, since Nintendo did not go for quote-unquote power with their design and instead opted for a tablet interface, I'm not worried about it being on par with Xbox One or PS4. He's not concerned with the lack of power is what I think he's saying there. Not because it's a tablet, it's his... Zelda is demonstrating that large, beautiful games can be developed for the system. Kicker, as always with Nintendo, is will people actually develop games for it? They need to win back the third party somehow. I already am a bit frustrated that some tablet games, World of Goo, are coming in at a high price. I'm fine with ports, not with ports at an extremely high price. He says, haha, as I was typing this, you just started talking about the price. I hate that they have price parameters for the digital games. I think that the first console that has digital game sales that match the type of sales that Steam provide will be huge. Dustin, yes, I agree with that too. Whoever can leverage that. Is willing to break away from retail. But I wish I knew the minutia of how intertwined that really is. There's got to be a lot there. Or developers would just not work with retail. There's got to be a lot to it.
I imagine there's a lot of money changing hands for, like, the GameStop exclusive version that gets you this DLC.
Yeah, there is.
If you keep getting a physical copy in our stores, we will give you a bunch of money.
Or maybe Walmart will be like, oh, you're going to just sell PlayStation digitally? Yeah. It's going to be pretty tough to get your TVs on the shelf. You know, like...
yeah. Holy cow.
You know, or like Microsoft has their... You know, Best Buy's like, oh, you just want to do digital games? Good luck getting a Surface Pro and a Best Buy. Not that Best Buy's in that big of a power position, but retail's retail. People still need to go to the store and get stuff. You know, we can't always wait on Amazon. So there will always be a need for foot traffic business. And it'll be interesting to see when video games finally break away. I do think they eventually will.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think, well, at that point, internet will have to be capitalist. Well, it doesn't have to be capitalist. It would be great if it was capitalist. Storage will have to go way up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's our infrastructure is not ready for an all digital world yet. For people like us that are power users that understand hard drive capacities, swapping stuff out, that sounds rudimentary and obvious to anybody listening to our show, but
for the
not in the masses,
owner,
not people that really casually play or whatever. So he also says, Dustin, congratulations on finishing Deus Ex. That is a great accomplishment. He says that your streaming is second to none, and I can't wait to watch Castlevania. Line of the week. He says, line of the week. They don't give a shit about us in the middle of the States, and rightfully so. It's hard to come in and compete with as an ISP. I mean, why invest when they have us by the nuts anyways? He says, another great episode, as always, and thanks for making my work week better with another great show. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate that. Tony's our good friend. He's co-founder of Classic Elite. So glad that he is able to hang out with us whenever he can. His family situation makes it pretty hard for him to get on the podcast when you and I are also free. Yeah. So glad he can still hang out with us. And definitely if you're a YouTube subscriber, if you're audio only, you might not be familiar with him if you're a newer listener, but he's been doing a lot of great videos lately. So if you're wanting to be familiar with Tony, check him out at our YouTube channel, and you'll get a good sense of what a cool guy he is. So, all right, man. Well, I think that's going to be it for this week. Well, we're coming in right at an hour.
Wow.
That's what happens when we don't have Demez cracking jokes, send us off into these tangents. But I did think of Dumbass. I do want to ask him if he's subscribed to a channel called Numberphile on YouTube. It's a mathematics channel, and it has 2 million subscribers. And they do these wonderful math problems, and it's really, really fascinating and interesting stuff. And since he likes science and physics so much, I wonder if he's also into this stuff. I bet he would enjoy it if he's not.
Yeah.
Do you ever... I love math. I like the idea of getting concepts into some sort of a logical order. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Do you run across that in any of your YouTube channels, or anybody that's really technical on that kind of stuff?
I did when I was in college.
Okay.
I love math too, but it leaves my head so fast if I don't use it.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like, all my math classes I took in college, I aced. I couldn't do a single thing I did in college. Like, it just it's gone.
I know some of the basic concepts and principles. Like if someone wants to talk in terms of standard deviations, I remember the basics of that.
PIMDOS, I can tell you that.
Okay. I can do a factor of numbers.
What else? Percent.
Okay. I
know
struggle.
what that is.
I can do the integer version of pi, 22/7. Well, that's not really an integer. Integer's a whole number. But written with numbers that look like integers. Where it's not actually like the fraction that gets you the repeating. But they just talk about like some unsolvable problems that just have baffled mathematicians in really funny ways. One video was the number is 9 like 250 times or something like that.
Okay.
But at one point an 8 shows up. And if you change it, it wrecks everything. But this math problem puts out this bizarre number, and it's a prime number. This 250 some digit number of all 9s, except for a single 8, is a prime number. And it no longer is if you change that one 8 in that one spot.
Man.
And there was another neat thing about like numbers that turn into is it an anagram that's the same backwards and forwards? Palindrome. It's a
Palindrome, yeah.
It's a palindrome. And this weird, funny way that palindrome numbers happen and work out and combinations that don't work. Yeah, I don't know. It was really neat. They've done stuff on like how growth constants are. I don't know. So go to Numberphile. It's pretty cool stuff. But that's going to be it for the show. So I guess our streaming schedule, or YouTube schedule. On Mondays, Tony, he's been traveling lately, but he'll be streaming some games, PS4 most likely. Tuesday nights, I tend to stream an NES game from my collection. If you have any requests of it you'd like me to stream, just put it in the comments of any of our videos. We'll see it. Wednesdays, we record the podcast live, and that'll also be on YouTube now. Fridays, we'll be posting the audio and video of the podcast unedited or edited. But I might be able to do that earlier now. Mm-hmm. Like the video might... The thing is my... You know when you get set in a particular process?
Mm-hmm.
So I have this systematic way of putting the show notes together for the website and uploading to all the various places. And one of the last things I do is click live on YouTube. So Fridays may still remain the full release schedule if you don't catch us live, strictly because I have to do a lot of other crap before I'm comfortable putting it on YouTube. And then, of course, weekends, we've got Cyberpunk, which you've been doing just Saturdays, pretty much.
Yeah, the schedule's lined up really well recently.
So, but Cyberpunk Saturdays, if you miss it, Dustin did an awesome playthrough of Deus Ex. And now is in the middle of playing Flashback.
Yep.
So, new to old. I'll be pretty curious what platform you pick next. See what you're in the mood for at that time. You don't have it already planned, do you?
Not yet, but I might go like even more obscure than normal.
That's an onion I would like to see peeled, I guess. But that's our streaming schedule if you'd like to watch us do stuff. On Fridays, you can get the audio podcast. Our RSS feed is available at our website, classicelite.com. If you want to get the audio version of the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, and SoundCloud. There's also other places that host us, but we don't know how our stuff's there. Like podcast.de or I don't know. There's some bizarre podcast aggregating sites that have us, which is fine. The more listeners, the better. I don't really.
Denmark?
It might have been. Yeah. Or Delaware.
Hi.
The great state.
Wayne's World. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
I don't remember. I guess I got to rewatch it. Was that the first one or second one?
The first one.
I remember more about the second one because I was a little older when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of the jokes
all the time.
They went over a lot of the jokes went over my head. Even I was like second grade or whatever when 2 came out.
Oh, yeah.
So But that's all of social media stuff. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and our account on Twitch is there. If you go to any of those places, you can find us by searching Classic Elite, Classic L337, and normally it's just that website /Classic Elite. Outro music this week, Dustin, it has been inspired by you. It's got a very cyberpunk feel.
Oh, yeah.
It's by a Polish guy named, I'm going to do my best here, Wojciech Golczewski. I think I did okay there.
Yeah.
The last name, Google couldn't help me with, but the first name, Google could. So Wojciech is spelled Wojciech. Thank you, Google, for that assistance there. But the song is called Data 8, and it's a B-side from from his last two releases. It's free to download, pay what you want through Bandcamp. And I think you'd like the whole album because it's very synth heavy. But this one is the most video gamey feel to it, so I put that in. But it's a great song. Hopefully people will enjoy it. It's only like 2 minutes long, and it doesn't have a traditional song structure. And I like weird stuff like that. And since I did an 8-minute song last week, we'll do 2 this and balance out the universe again. So everybody, thank you very much for listening to episode 224 of the Classic Elite Podcast. And we'll see you next week for episode 225.
Boosh.
All right, thanks for watching.
Peace out, guys.